You may have guessed the other method that you can use when finding an average with fractions and decimals is to convert everything to decimals instead of fractions. Now, one caution, this will not work every time. There are fractions that can't become even decimals. So you might try to convert a fraction into a decimal and find out that it just goes on and on and on and on, and you'd be dividing for the rest of your life to make it work out into a decimal. So that's why the fraction option is there. That one will always work. This one will work sometimes and sometimes it won't. But if you're more comfortable with decimals, this might be the place to start. So I'm going to convert all of my numbers to decimals. So when I want to turn a fraction into a decimal, I have to do some division. And my trick for remembering how to do this is that I picture myself just pushing the fraction over, like my hand is going to just push it that way. And so then the top number always falls down and rests next to the bottom number. And that's how I remember how the division goes. Let me rewrite that a little more neatly. So for this one, it would be 4 goes into 1. And that's how we'd find the decimal for 1/4. So here I'm going to do my division. 4 does not go into 1, but I can add a decimal. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. I'm going to add a 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. So I've gotten a 0. That's good. That means this stops. It ends. And then I'm going to remember to bring this decimal point straight up. So 1/4 is the same as 0.25, which makes sense because if this were money, 0.25, we call it a quarter, right? 1/4 is a quarter of something, so that's where that comes from. Okay, so now I'm just going to walk through my regular steps for finding an average. I'm going to add all of my numbers up, 0.25, 0.32, and 2. Remember to line up your decimals. Okay, 2.57, all right, and now I'm going to divide that by the number of numbers. 2.57 divided by 3. 3 goes into 2, it doesn't. Goes into 25 8 times. Goes into 17 5 times. And I get a 2. 3 goes into 20 6 times, and then this would be repeating. It would just keep going and going and going. So I'm going to bring my decimal straight up. My answer becomes the average of these three is 0.856 repeating. Now remember a minute ago we found that the answer was 257 over 300. That was our fraction answer. Look at this, it's exactly the same problem we just worked. 257 divided by 300 is the same as 2.57 divided by 3. So we're getting the same number, it's just expressed in two different ways, and it tells us the same answer. Whichever method you're more comfortable with, that's the one you should use. And you can also use both methods to check yourself at the end. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have questions.